Warning, the thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are just that, our personal thoughts and opinions. While we do our best to discuss topics responsibly, some of the information shared is based on allegations, reports, or speculation and may not be fully factual. We encourage our listeners to do their own research and form their own conclusions. This podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only, and nothing discussed here should be taken as legal, professional, or definitive advice. Fuckers.
He did drugs. The straw that broke the camel's back was her finding cocaine in the drawers that had my baby clothes.
Dun dun dun, Mikhail has a second family. If you are constantly testing your partner to see how much you care, you don't trust them.
Absolutely.
So I've dated women in the past that no matter what, they always put their phone face down. And I never went through their phone, but I always asked in my head why. Wait, does it matter at all who they cheated on you with?
Well, that's a hall pass.
Who's on your list?
I literally just
I don't know
set
what
my
you
dad
were
up to follow us on YouTube.
Okay, hold on. One more question while we're on the topic of cheating. Does it count if it's with a robot?
But I have a question. Okay, so in your serious relationships, do your girlfriends have the password to your phone?
With that said, I'll pass it to Lindsay, who has, I guess, hot takes, relationship-related hot takes that she wants to kind of throw at us to see kind of where we stand on a lot of this stuff. So
I was joking about the tranny. I just want you to know.
meaning he's down.
All right.
I can't believe you said another one. That wasn't me. That was
So
Adrian.
I just want to hear if you guys agree or disagree. What's your hot take on the hot take? Okay. And just because the hot take, just what?
Just
Nothing.
counting how many times. You
Yeah,
said
what's your hot take on the
Right.
hot take?
Because the hot take.
Just because
Big
I'm
old
saying
cupcakes.
this does not mean that I agree
Okay.
with this. Okay.
Really? Let's talk about your OnlyFans page.
Really?
Yeah.
Your OnlyFans research.
Oh my God.
Yeah, your OnlyFans research.
Right, to clarify.
Yeah.
Anywho, okay. So another hot take. If you are constantly testing your partner to see how much you care, you don't trust them.
Absolutely.
I guess I need examples.
Yeah, care about what?
I need an
like
example.
what are the
Like,
tests?
they
Like a
care
math
about
test?
Oh, just about you in general?
Math.
Yeah, like
I'm about
social,
to
is it
give
social studies?
you this
Like,
test, this annual.
okay, I'm going to go really, extreme, right? But you create a fake account and, reach out to your girlfriend
Oh,
on
that's
DM.
dirty.
Right? Because you're testing if she'll respond to that
Is that what you
person.
mean by that? That's
I
dirty.
think that's a good example. Yeah. That's
I think that's a
if
great
you're
example. What's a
Constantly
micro
testing
one?
a smaller one would be
like microaggressions.
testing, checking your phone
You're
or
getting canceled for
Checking their
that.
phone.
checking their phone.
Checking their
yeah,
phone,
or
okay.
Oh, okay. Like
can
so,
see
if their
that.
phone goes off and then the partner's just like, "Hey, who texted you?"
yeah.
But that's you don't trust them.
Sure.
Or
sure.
I ask them
No,
all the
I-
time, "Do you love me?"
I ask all the time who texted you, but I think it's actually going into their phone and reading the conversations to try to find something.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Maybe intent then is the real reason.
right.
What's your intention by asking that? And only you really know.
Right.
Like, what if that was like
Went
you're
very
asking,
deep.
right?
Right.
If you're asking for a certain reason or not, are you just curious? Like I'm just curious who texts you, or are you having an insecure thought who's texting you? But they can be presented.
What if
the
you were
exact
just
same way.
curious and you're like, "Hey, who's texting you?" And then the response was, "Why does it matter?"
Then it probably sets alarms off.
Right. Well, now give me your fucking phone. No, I'm just playing.
And then
But when you ask Mikhail, "Do you love me?" It's not because you doubt he loves you. It's just because you want to hear he loves you.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's different than
Yeah.
testing him.
But
Yeah.
some people could probably see me asking him "Oh, do you love me?" and them thinking "Damn, bitch!"
What does it matter what they think?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
right.
I trust them.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm trying to think what
You were
other
gonna
reason.
say, well, I don't.
No. That would been a good plot twist. But, yeah, that would have been good content. I didn't think of that. I'm trying to think if there is any other reasonable examples someone could be testing without it necessarily meaning you don't trust. That's why I was trying to think of a micro one, but I don't know if I could think of a good enough
okay,
one that would
so I guess
justify that.
Maybe a micro. Well, I don't think that's micro. Never mind. I'll say maybe a micro one is like you find. Never mind. That's not micro.
Yeah.
I'll say you find condoms in your girl's purse and you guys don't use condoms.
That's a major one.
That's a major one.
Major one.
I thought that was that's not a micro.
It's just a micro.
I'm not good at microaggressions, man.
So then I guess that it leads into if you feel the need to hide your phone, you are already cheating emotionally, if not physically.
What if a woman suspected that her boyfriend or husband was sleeping with a man,
And then
Look,
and she asked him like,
Oh.
"Hey, why
like this
is
is home, but then
your
like
farts smell like
No,
penis?
hold on.
no? Like, why is Dewan always texting you? Like, oh, I play basketball with him,
Right.
But how come he's sending you pictures of his dick? Like, what? That would be gay, right?
Oh my god.
That would be gay, right?
what did you say?
Nothing. I've never heard of that before, but I don't know technology at
Yeah.
all. So
Anywho, but I mean, just like if you feel that like you can't put your phone on the table,
And walk away.
yeah, or like even if you're sitting right there, you can't put the phone on the table. You have to put it down,
down all the
face
time?
down.
does that
or-
bother anybody? I've dated women in the past that no matter what, they always put their phone face down, and I never went through their phone, but I always asked in my head why.
I put my phone face down because I don't want the notifications to distract me if I'm having a conversation.
So you've already thought about a good excuse. That's smart. I like that. I like that. I
my
like that.
gosh.
She's freaking prepared. She's ready to go.
Right.
You guys have meetings about this.
But I have a question. Okay, so in your serious relationships, do your girlfriends have the password to your phone?
Yes. I tell them.
Do you know the password to my phone?
You've given it to me a bunch of times. Whether I
He
remember.
He doesn't care to remember it. He
You told me
doesn't
about
give
100 times. I
fuck.
still don't remember.
He
Is
doesn't
it-
care.
is it
That's awesome.
The last four of your phone number? Your old job landline? And
Not
now-
landline,
The
but
last four of
it
your
was
social.
it was
No.
it was the last four of my license number at VA House
okay,
of my
okay.
badge number.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of your team member number or your gaming license?
Whatever was on my badge at VA House.
Well, you had both, but it was probably it was a little longer number.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it was your phone number.
It was only
The
5.
landline.
No, it was only 5 digits.
Oh, 5 digit. I thought it was 4.
But I-
Oh,
yeah.
when it was team member number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she's told it to me a bunch of times. I ask her every time, like, hey, I don't remember. And like an example would be like, hey, just order food, and she has the Uber not pay for delivery thing,
Yeah.
so just get in there real quick and do it, and then I'll be like, well, fuck, I don't remember your thing again. So
I've had relationships where so I let the girl that I'm dating know the passcode of my phone because like I have nothing to hide. But I've also had relationships where I started dating somebody and we're dating for like 6 months, a year, and then an ex will reach out to me
yeah,
and I won't respond, but this is what I do personally. And to me, it's to build trust. I'll show my ex like, hey, I just want to let you know this ex texts me, hey, how are you doing? I'm not going to respond to it. I'm going to delete the thread, but I want you to know so that way, like, I don't know, you don't think that I'm trying to hide something for you. I guess they would never know if
First
I
of
just
all,
deleted
why
it.
weren't they blocked in the first place?
I don't block everybody that I've dated before.
I mean, to me, like if you're in a relationship, like
But why would you have to block people if they're not going to?
I guess.
a lot of people.
So then, right?
Like that's
For you, yeah, for you, I guess. So then I guess like then that leads into the next hot take, which is cheating isn't always the end, but lying about it is. If cheating does happen, is cheating isn't always the end, but lying about it is. That's the hot take.
for me, cheating is always the end. Even if they're upfront and honest about it, and not because, like that's great that they didn't lie about it, that they were forthcoming, but
The fact that it even happened.
I'll never trust them again.
Yeah.
I won't. Now, I everybody's different. Some people might be able to trust them again.
Yeah.
It might take a long time, but they'll rebuild that trust. I've actually been in a relationship where I was cheated on before, and I tried to make it work, and it was never the same. I never trusted her again. And then I also found myself doing things that I wasn't doing before she cheated, like
Checking her phone.
face down.
no,
Checking
no,
her phone.
no, like I would. So after she cheated, I wanted to end things, and she's like, "No, I'm really sorry. I made a mistake. Like it won't ever happen again. I promise. Like, can we please try to rebuild this?" And I was like, "Okay," because I still cared for her as a person. But then I found myself, like when she would put her phone down and walk out of the room, I found myself tempted to pick up her phone and go through it. And right when I felt that, I'm like, I need to get out of this. This is not for me. Because
Right.
once you start doing that, you're going backwards.
Right. And just because you tell me about it doesn't mean that we're like cool.
Yeah. So
like,
it was like a month later, we tried and I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm never going to trust you again.
Yeah.
And I walked away and we never talked
no,
again.
totally. I mean, I would never
Yeah.
accept a cheater. You know, again, yeah, the same thing. If once that trust is broken, it's kind of like forever broken.
I think of my daughters, right, and what example I would want to give them, and because I wouldn't want them to like stay with somebody who doesn't love them enough to prioritize them, why would I do that?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Okay.
Wait, does it matter at all who they cheated on you with?
No.
Like if it was, you know, okay, like what if Lindsay was like, hey, it was Brad Pitt.
Oh, okay.
You know,
yeah.
Okay. Do you
Maybe
have?
just get it.
Is there?
Well,
do
that's
you,
a hall pass. That's
yeah.
a little
Do you?
different.
Whoa!
So the question
How
is, do
many
we
hall
believe in hall
passes?
passes?
Like,
I believe
is there
in
a
ball
list of
passes.
only 3 people, or
Ball
like,
passes.
or is it anybody that's just like, there's no fucking way that you had sex with Brad Pitt, motherfucker? I did.
I saw a funny video of some guy's girl or wife was just like, hey, just remember that time we spoke about hall passes and remember who mine was? And he was like, yeah. He was like laughing it off. It was fucking Drake. He was like, yeah, right. So a buddy of mine, she got backstage passes to Drake, and I'm going to see if we can hang out there after the concert, kind of thing. And he starts laughing. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, you really think Drake's gonna fuck you? Kind of thing. And he was like, you know what? If you think you have a shot, go ahead.
Wow.
Would you be okay with if that was
I'm
me?
not as cool as that guy.
No, I mean, but yeah. First of all, ain't no way Drake is looking at me. Period.
Well, I mean,
but
regardless, you know what I mean? Like, it's you never know. But I mean, in a funny way, sure. But if it's like a serious, I'm putting myself now in front of this person, and I think that's a little disrespectful now. It's
Yeah.
a little, a little
Yeah.
crazy. But in theory, sure, ha ha ha. If we want to talk about people we were down to like sleep with, sure, to an extent. But like even then, like I don't know if I necessarily
Who's on
like,
your
find
list?
that. I don't. You're trying to set me up.
no, I'm not.
He's played this game
Yeah,
before.
I don't.
What
no, I've never
what
played this.
celebrities do you think are hot?
All the hot ones. I don't know. Like
All the hot ones?
I could say who's
Great
hot, but
answer.
it's different to like realistically say like, do I have a hall pass? Thing?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I agree with that. Like, it's
Yeah.
funny to talk about,
Yeah.
but like in the real world, I don't care who
No.
she is.
Yeah.
Like, you're not.
Okay, hold on. One more question while we're on the topic of cheating. Does it count if it's with a robot? Because they're making robots now that look
Oh.
so human-like with. I just read that they have robots that now have skin made
It's
out
like
of human
AI
cells.
intelligence, and it remembers how you like it. And
I
like,
think any type of cheating is cheating.
Robots aren't people though.
like
It doesn't matter
masturbation
though.
too.
The fact that you needed to go stick your penis into something that wasn't.
A pocket pussy? Is that across the
What
line?
about sticking your penis in your own hand and masturbating?
I
Is
mean,
that
it's,
a form of cheating?
it's technically not right in the like
biblical terms?
right.
In the Bible, yeah.
So I guess it's dependent on the terms of each person's relationship. Because if one person or if two people agree, like whatever, that's fine. Toys aren't. Jerking off's fine. This isn't,
Robots are cool.
or not. But those are
Yeah.
terms.
Or
that,
not.
Those are terms. Those are terms that are set by
Right.
the
Well,
couple.
and especially like is the robot like a 5'11" model
Right.
with like a hot smoking body while
Yeah.
I'm over here fucking blah, like
Well,
you
what
know
do
like
do you think it's going to be like a 85-year-old grandma that's like obese?
Ew.
No, but it's the point
The-
of like, what does it look like that you think like?
That matters?
well yeah because then like the fantasy
Go
then
on.
then
I
if
wanna know.
they're
to know the logic behind this.
well yeah because then if they're having sex with the robot that looks way better than you then like they're definitely cheating.
That's a totally
I
that's
mean,
like
they're
a
definitely cheating regardless.
that's like a insecure thing though.
And if you're
Why does it matter if it's like you literally just said it makes a difference if it's a robot that looks hot and a robot that doesn't look hot, but it still should be the same thing.
It hurts more.
Objectively.
Yeah, it hurts more. It hurts more when the
we are
husband
going,
leaves
brother.
you for the hot younger model. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
But
the
if the
same
husband
thing.
leaves you for like the 85-year-old grandma, you're like, good luck. Having
No,
fun.
even worse. That's like a bigger burn.
So there's no winning, is what you're
There's no
saying.
winning.
No.
Well,
Oh,
I was gonna say
man.
our terms, like that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
That's our terms.
I would never.
So you
I
would
need
fuck
girl
a
that's
robot?
down
though?
for robots.
No, but okay. So then I guess that's like then do you think that like your partner masturbating is like cheating?
It depends.
It depends how.
If I
What?
walk in on it, it's fair game.
Fair game, like
Like you get to join in now?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, but what if they're jerking off but like not having sex with you?
That's a problem.
yeah, that's a problem
Is it
in
cheating?
itself. I don't.
No, it's not. I don't think it's cheating, but I think it's
That's
a problem.
that's just a relationship problem.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't necessarily like label it as cheating, but I would say like there's a problem. Like if I were here, that was going on. Like you guys got. a
Yeah,
problem.
why are we not being affectionate?
Yeah,
Okay.
this couple isn't being affectionate for whatever.
wouldn't label it
reason,
cheating either.
Yet he's or she's. She prefers or he prefers this, so there has to be a disconnect somewhere,
Right.
Intimacy wise, I don't know if that's cheating, because I think cheating is like with another person. However you want to do it, sexual or emotional, but person to person.
Seeking that relationship outside of your marriage or
Something,
your
yeah.
Okay.
Emotional or physical something.
Okay.
But masturbating, I don't necessarily think is,
Okay.
you know.
Another hot take, if your friends dislike your partner, then they're probably right.
To an extent.
Yeah, it depends on which ones.
And what they're saying.
Depends
Yeah.
how old you are.
Okay.
Explain.
I mean, at my age,
Yeah.
if my friends didn't like my husband, that's their issue. That's their problem.
By now or a new guy though?
By now,
What about a new person?
I would think about it.
So it depends
But
to an extent. Kind of.
Or like if you're like 18 and your friends are like, "Oh my god, that guy's so bad for you." You're not going to listen to your friends. Obviously, you're 18.
Well, maybe at 18 you would,
I think at 18 you would.
but maybe
Yeah?
not today.
Okay.
Today it's more like it depends or why,
Okay.
kind of, right? I
Yeah.
would think, at least for me, it's like why, and then if they're valid, okay, well, fuck, they're valid. But if they're like more opinion, subjective, like
Which they would have to be. I mean,
it just depends. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you have some friends that are overly opinionated.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you have some friends that are a little bit more logical and have rationale.
Oh.
I think just going off of past experiences, anytime a majority of the guys or even my family, like my uncle would say something, whether I listened or not, it always ended up not working.
So if your family says like, "Hey, we don't like this person," then you think that they're right for the most part?
So far they've been right.
Anecdotally, the data says yes.
Okay.
The data
far.
says yes.
Okay.
For me.
Right.
What
okay, if somebody like your friend or your family was like, "Oh, it's because that girl did this," or we saw her with this other person, would you need proof, or would you just take their word for it?
proof like she was like doing, like she cheated on someone else already before type thing, or
Yeah.
like she's okay.
Well, I would want to have a conversation with her. I mean, I trust my family, but I don't think you just take what they say like as 100% factual, not having a conversation with the person and trying to figure out what their version of the story is. Like
Right.
there's always
So how would that conversation look though? Would you just be like, "My uncle told me that you cheated on your ex like this"?
I would be like, give me your phone.
Why is it face down?
Unlock it right now. Why is it face down?
Oh fuck! I left.
I'm
mine
going
face
through.
down.
I'm going through it right now.
That's funny.
No, that'd be a weird conversation, but I think you have to. There's no fluff around that conversation. You have to be direct. And I maybe I don't say my uncle's name. Maybe I just say I heard this, and is there any truth to it? And then I would try to put my lie detector goggles on.
I feel like if somebody came to me and told me exactly what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't true,
Was not.
I
true.
would walk away from that relationship.
That's the
like,
risk.
immediately.
And it wasn't true?
Right.
That's the risk. I think. That's
Wait, you'd walk away from the family relationship?
No, with that person.
With that
Like if
person.
you approach in this example, let's say Daniela was the girl receiving that, hey, I heard that you may have done this, and it was completely off, she would just dismiss that whole
Oh,
relationship.
so like if I accused her of something because of what a
Yeah.
family member said and it wasn't true, then she'd just walk away.
If it was just totally wrong, then
Yeah.
she'd walk. That I mean,
That-
because then if you kept it to yourself, you would also have to like always wonder that too.
Right.
But
Yeah, I think it depends on who's telling you and how much you trust them and the validity behind their words. Like you have, I'm sure everybody has family members where you're like,
right.
they're always saying wild shit. And then you have family members that you know they've always been honest with you and they would never try to sabotage you and they would always tell you what they felt, at least in their heart, was true.
'Cause in this example, the cheating thing, I'm not necessarily 100% on board with like the once a cheater, always a cheater thing. I think that there's a little bit of like growth people do too. So, but some people are very
I
like
believe that too.
very dead set on like, no, if they did it once, they could do it again. But also like, how old were they? Life experience.
I think
What was
that
the
plays a-
situation?
I think that plays a big part.
right.
When you're
And
a
I
kid,
think
you
that
don't
there's a
know.
Yeah.
I think that there's a
Life
difference between
experience.
like if you cheated on your boyfriend or girlfriend versus if you cheated on your spouse. Like you should
Some
have like
people
took
probably
a
don't,
vow.
though. Well, some people probably don't see it. That
Yeah.
way, I would imagine. I'm just.
I think age is a big one.
Yeah,
You learn
age.
so much with life,
Right.
and going through stuff.
But I mean, to me, like I just said, like you literally say like out loud in front of people when you're getting married, like this, you take an oath that this is the only person for the rest of your life. And so to me, after you said that, and then you turn around and cheat, then like you're garbage. But
But there are people that get married super young that shouldn't be getting married.
no, for sure. But I do think that there is growth. You can, you know, maybe have a cheating situation in a younger relationship and then you can outgrow, you know, the relationship or the behavior. So,
Some people can, and some people
yeah.
never outgrow it.
And then there's, there's serial fuckboys or, you know.
Because
like-
if someone came to me and said that about the girl that I was dating, I don't know if I would necessarily like approach her and just be like, hey, I heard you cheated on this random person. I don't know. I would just maybe keep a eye on behaviors. If things come off odd to me, then I'm going to kind of start moving closer to like, oh shit, these are starting to like line up with what I heard.
Yeah.
Or if she's totally straight up the entire time, she's not giving me any weird feelings. You know what I mean? Like then maybe she did do it, but she's not doing it now. So
I think that also plays, what you just said plays into what she said, because like with her example of if your family member said this,
yeah,
I think it depends on, are they talking about something that happened in the past before this woman even knew me?
yeah.
Or are they talking about something that happened currently that has happened since they've been with me?
Right.
And then how credible is that person?
Oh, yeah.
Like, all that factors into whether that conversation is going to be had or not.
Right.
Because to your point, it could be wrong and you can sully the entire relationship.
Right.
But then you also have to, that is always on your mind potentially.
Right. What might not bother me might bother
Yeah.
you, or vice versa. So you might want those answers.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit more.
So now,
like,
what if it was the opposite, where somebody came to you with that accusation and it wasn't true? How would you feel?
I feel upset, but I think,
You wouldn't walk away.
I don't know. It depends. It depends on like who told them, why did they think that, what were the circumstances around this?
Right.
Like, there's a lot more that just goes into that.
If it's like my mom, and then my mom, even if it ends up like not being true, but my mom had that shred of doubt, you know what I mean? Like, if my mom doesn't like you, then like, you know what I mean? Or if I've talked shit to my mom about you, then I can't hang out with you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if I told my mom, then it's done. Like, you know? So if my mom's coming to me and saying like, hey, I heard this about so-and-so, like, sure, I might like, depending on the person, like if my mom said that about Mikhail, I'd probably like investigate, you know, but
right, because like she's never said anything like that before. So if she said anything now, approaching 10 years, then that's odd. That's really like, why would she ever do that now? So maybe it is a little bit more heavily weighted than like a
Yeah,
one-off
no, at
thing,
this point, that would be.
right? So why would you've never said anything like that before? That's pretty jacked up. So let me ask them, like, what the fuck? But if we're brand new, it might be a little bit different.
Right. I don't know. Once I like talk shit about you to either Mikhail or to my mom, then like I can't hang out with you anymore.
Fair enough.
Okay, so next one. Staying together for the kids often teaches them the wrong lesson about love.
Absolutely.
I don't even have kids, and I'm not married, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a healthy relationship is a priority. Like the way
Right.
you mom and dad are is what is like the most important thing, especially around your kids. I personally.
Right. I mean, I think that, yeah, because if you're staying together for the kids, I think that you can make the conscious decision to then just co-parent peacefully. You know what I mean? Like, why be miserable for your kids or to, not live authentically if,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, and like Daniela mentioned earlier, what example are you setting for the kids? And you're repeating the cycles
right.
of trauma.
Especially if it's
that they're going to now grow up and
if
do,
it's
probably reciprocate or do the same thing.
right. If it's a bad situation and or volatile, toxic, whatever situation, then of course, yeah, definitely move on. There's maybe rare scenarios where, people can be friends,
Sure.
going forward. But yeah. This kind of, we're going more into like the kid stuff. If you don't parent as a team, your kids will learn to play you.
Sure. Yeah.
Kids are so smart.
Right.
Has that ever happened to you guys?
No, I don't think so. I think we've always made it a point to like support each other in that moment. Even if we disagree, we'll like talk about it later, or at least we try. But I don't think the kids have found that loophole yet.
Yeah.
I think we do. We'll get caught with little ones. Like the kids will ask for like a treat, and we'll just kind of be like, "Hey, mom said it was okay," and then come to find out they never even asked mom. So
Or I straight up said
Sneaky.
no, or, like things like that. But for the most part, if it's like discipline or, we
Serious stuff, yeah.
collaborate on like doing fun stuff, even it's not just like
Yeah.
me deciding this is what we're going to do with the kids. Like we collaborate on everything.
Right.
You have discussions of what we think the best route of punishment or, what we want to do for their birthday parties
Especially
or
the
whatever.
punishment stuff. That stuff is so hard to like have a like exact solution for, because you don't know if what you're about to do is gonna work or be effective, or like, you know what I mean? You're just doing more harm than good. So it's kind of that one's always a hard. I always kind of got to take a few minutes to kind of like sit down and think about what I'm about to do and like how I'm about to explain it, and hope that it sticks. And then if it doesn't, I gave it my best, shot. I made the best decision that I thought in the moment, instead of doing something off of an emotion in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough. So like the last example was on our last episode, we caught Juju and Elias watching inappropriate videos on YouTube, and this wasn't necessarily the first time, but there had been like a long time in between there, and so it was a repeat offense. It was something that I didn't necessarily want to totally shame them on per se, because I understand like they're
Just
figuring out that they're
exploring, yeah.
attracted to things. They just don't understand like appropriateness of these things. So I don't necessarily want to like shatter that and then make them forever like awkward in that, but I also want it to be known like the way you're doing it is wrong. This is not okay, right? So balancing all those things at once while talking to a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old is kind of like, and then an 8-year-old on the spectrum. It's kind of like
Who doesn't understand
certain concepts sometimes. So it's kind of like an extra curveball in there. But for the most part, it was just a simple like explanation with a timeout punishment and a removal of the devices that they were watching them on. And that's pretty much like the explanation to me was I'm hoping the most important part, and then the devices being removed as a result of what they did.
Just
So,
removing the whole.
yeah, and the timeout you have to do the time, quote unquote, just because they don't like it.
Yeah.
So they're
You gotta do the time.
You're receiving.
Sound like prisoners, man.
Yeah, dude.
You
That's
gotta do the time.
Well, we don't do physical punishment,
yeah.
Do you not believe in corporal punishment?
like spanking or hitting.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, not hitting. I mean that's like beating your child. I would say spanking.
Like
No.
like a spanking, like
Yeah.
a traditional, just regular spanking. I don't think I do. Like, I can see in some circumstances where like you can kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say like hit them, but I want to say that overall, I think they do more harm than good. I think it's just so easy to like go like it's more harm than good. That I don't think it's worth just doing it. But I like for me, I received spankings, and I don't necessarily like think they were the worst thing. If anything, they were effective in me being fearful of doing things because I don't want to get spanked. But I never walked away thinking that like fuck, my mom doesn't love me. But she also, and I pointed this out to Lindsay, she always made it a point to like after we had that circle back to me and hug me, kiss, whatever. I still love you. I just don't want you to XYZ, blah blah blah. So then I always was just like, oh, okay, awesome.
Right.
I just think that spankings have to be done correctly, right? It can't be your go-to for everything. I think, like you said, you have to have you have to have conversations with your kids.
Right.
Those like uncomfortable conversations need to happen. They need to understand what they did wrong.
Right.
You can't just spank them. But I do think that there is certain circumstances that may require that level of punishment, but it should be done like with the intention of like I'm only gonna do it once because you're like
Right.
this should keep you from ever doing this again. Right? It shouldn't be like I spank you so much that it doesn't even hurt you anymore, and like we're in this vicious cycle now.
Right. It's like delicate. It's a very delicate thing. So it's like, especially for me being a bigger guy, it's like I'd rather just not do that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of.
And with Elias
Tough.
being on the spectrum, like it
Yeah.
really like it doesn't mean anything to him. Like to him, he's just
Well,
getting.
it just might not be as effective.
Yeah.
But like I always said, I thought it was effective like with me growing
Yeah.
up. So I'm not necessarily, I'm totally against it. I just don't know if I am capable of being delicate enough with the whole. I just see so much room for error for me that I would rather just not.
And then for
I'll
me,
just avoid
I
it.
grew up in that cycle of just being spanked for anything and everything, and not even by my own parents.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That I don't believe in spank. Like I can't bring myself to do that.
So no corporal punishment. for you.
None.
You
Like
got spanked by people that weren't your parents?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like aunts and uncles?
no, like by like stepdads or like
Oh,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, what also it depends, right? With Daniela, that's a step. With Santiago, if that ever happened, I think that's also probably maybe a different relationship. Obviously, a lot of your steps were like temporary, like.
Yeah.
But I guess I could see it work because they see him as dad, or he sees him as dad. That's dad. So, yeah, I can see how that can be fine. Again, delicate, I guess. It's just all super delicate, I think. It just depends
I
on
think-
context.
I think when it comes to punishment, it's hard, right? Because we have this tendency of like we get upset and we're like, oh, you're never gonna watch TV again, and like that's not realistic,
Exactly.
right? But for a kid, you're like telling them something, and then 30 minutes later, you're like, go watch TV.
Exactly.
So it comes to like this very like weird place where like we need to take a minute, take a deep breath, and understand how we're going to punish our kids, and then kind of move to that punishment with like the right stuff. I was just telling you guys about Santiago's punishment, and like his punishment was just that, his punishment, right? He's as silly as it sounds, he's not allowed in his room
Right.
because we don't know what he has in his room. And
Did you like go through his stuff?
we'll do it eventually, but I wanna do it in a point where the girls are not home, because I don't want this to be something that like then they go and share.
You got to be like tactful about
Right.
being a parent sometimes.
So the girls
like,
know that he's in trouble. They obviously don't know why, and they don't know for how long. And so he's not allowed in his room, and he doesn't have any electronics. But I think the hardest part has been the like trust rebuild, right? Because like I have never heard a parent say this, but like my kid broke my heart. And normally when somebody hurts me or breaks me, I like get away from them. I keep them
but
at
it's
an
your
arm's
kid.
length,
You can't.
or I
Yeah.
cut them off completely. But this is my 14-year-old, right? So like how do I navigate this relationship now?
You beat that ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Corporal punishment.
So I actually, funny enough, I just had a conversation with him like last Tuesday. I would say more of a monologue because I did all the talking and he just stared at me. But
More of a monologue.
I essentially told him like, dude, today was a really hard day for me because I am struggling with I love you so much, yet I don't trust you. And I don't know how, like these feelings don't make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from here. So today was a really hard day and I just don't trust you. Like this morning you did this and that, and like in my head I was thinking of all the things you were gonna go to school and do that you weren't supposed to. And like I just literally saw him like deflate. And I wasn't trying to shame him. I wasn't bringing things up, but it was just like, these are my feelings and I'm entitled to them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like, a conversation that people don't have. Like I've never heard a parent
that's
say like, how do you recover
Right.
from this?
I mean, I've had the conversation from my parents of like, we're disappointed, and like that thing of like, oh,
We're not mad.
yeah, we're
We're
like
just disappointed.
the choices
Oh, no,
that
I was
you're
pissed.
right. The choices that you're making are not a reflection of like what we've instilled in you or like what we expect from you. Like we know that you're better than that, and like explaining that of like you're better than that and being like, well, fuck, you're right. You know what I mean? Like that always got to me of like,
Right.
if I did something wrong, but
I think it's super effective because I think like knowing that it was at one point like just you and Santiago or you two, I think that there's like an extra like I don't want to let this person feel this way
Right.
anymore. So
I mean, just
even
like-
though he wasn't answering, I think that it's absorbing. He
Yeah.
just can't show you yet because he's not emotionally mature enough to tell you he's absorbing it. But I think you guys being as upset as you are, especially disappointed, and then being able to articulate that to him, I think that's going to go a long way.
that's like
Personally, in my opinion, personally.
the text message after we saw the video of the dog pulling you and him, like he came out and like helped you and asked you like, are you okay? Like he has a good heart, and he just, I think he was bored. He's bored and he just needed.
Yeah.
I think that's the scary part, right? Like he is so smart. And like I told him, like imagine all the good things you could do if you were using those skills and talents for
Right.
good.
Right.
And that's kind of what's scary, right? Because I've heard other parents of like teenagers complain of like, oh, he doesn't clean the room, or they don't do this, or they don't do that, and I'm like, yeah, I can't share what he did, but I can tell
Sorry.
you with like,
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you that because Santiago has, a good example at home. He's very involved in the church, right? Like all those are positives for him. But there's an aspect that you don't have control over and you don't know anything about, which is the external influences. Like, how do you, especially right after this type of incident, how do you navigate that? Like, what are you and Eddie doing? Because that has to be something that's always on your mind.
A lot of prayer and a lot of surrendering.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else I can do, right? And Tuesday that I had a really bad day, I was also like fighting those feelings because we've prayed a lot about it. We've prayed for him. We prayed with him. We've prayed alone. We've prayed together. But also, like within the prayer, I also have to let go of the control, let go and surrender. Because if I keep holding on to it, he's gonna like that aspect of his life is gonna consume my life, and I have two other ones that need me and need me present. So I cannot continue to hold on to it so tight that I lose sight of everything else. And so constant reminder that like this is not mine and I have to put it down. And I think one of the biggest learning things for me over this time is this is not my fault. Right? As a parent, I think if I was not in the faith and I was somewhere else in my life, if this would have happened a year ago, I would have came up with a list of 30 things I did wrong that led to him doing this. But because of where I am at now, I can say like I am doing my best and giving you the best of me and of dad. And you at the end of the day made choices and decisions that led to that. It is not my fault. I can only show you the right way and hope that you walk in it. But at the end of the day, you are a person capable of making your decisions.
Yeah. It's a really, really
And I mean, he's
introspective way to look at
old
it.
enough for sure to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He's learning at a young age that we are a product of our choices.
Is there advice you would leave someone who would come across, I don't know, a similar situation where they just, I don't know. I guess, do you walk away like kind of having some sort of like advice for people who may experience the same in the future with their kids coming across something like this?
Homeschool.
Oh.
No, I'm joking.
No, I would never homeschool.
Whether it's like, hey, don't be afraid to like dig in their stuff or
I just think
follow your intuition type stuff.
I just
or-
think follow your intuition is definitely it. Like if there is something that feels off, there probably is something off. It might be small, it might be big, who knows? But also like understanding that you cannot be there with them 100% of the time. So you can only give them a firm foundation to stand on.
Right.
And, you know, continue to like guide them in the right path. It's not like a one-time thing. You have to continuously work with them. I think one thing that I read in a book that kind of like stuck with me is our kids are being discipled every day by just their surrounding life, right? Are we okay with what they're being discipled on, or do we need to pull in more control and bring in more of what we believe is best for them? And so I think with that said, I have kind of leaned in a lot into that idea of like, okay, I'm going to show you the right way. I'm going to show you more of what I want you to grow up with what I want you to grow into, instead of just letting YouTube disciple you.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. Social media.
I like that. Like, if you guys are okay with it, I like that with like lasting words, I guess.
Yeah. That's I was it's funny you say that. I was like, damn, that's a good way to end right
I
there.
prefer that being like the
That was deep.
final message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
I just
Daniela.
live here.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniela, for coming in, guest hosting for us today.
This was fun.
You did amazing. Hopefully, we'll have future ones with you, and hopefully, you and Eddie can do a.
I wanted to plan something where we're kind of doing like a game night where it's kind of like a bonus episode, like how they did the boys, but like, whoever wants to come find a game to play or whatever. My initial thought was Cards Against Humanity just because it can get so crazy, but find a game that we can kind of play and just have a good time with. And so
Let's do it.
yeah,
Set
That
that up.
sounds fun.
But yeah, we'll get a future episode. You and Eddie both. I think that'd be awesome. And yeah, thank you to everybody who listened to this episode today. I think we had a great episode. And remember, if you want to continue to watch us, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Music. We post episodes every 2 weeks. We'll have reels and clips posted in between to highlight certain points of our previous episode. And thank you. We appreciate all you guys, every subscriber, every listener, any feedback, any comment, any like. We love to see it. And thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
With that
Love
said,
you guys.
Bye.
catch you on the next one.